Welcome to Max Life Man, your essential YouTube channel, expertly led by me, Dr. Sterling Thorne, and my dedicated team from the prestigious Evergreen Peaks Institute. For over 2 decades, I've been sitting across from men just like you in quiet clinic rooms, in warm office spaces, sometimes even on the sidelines of a grandkid's soccer game, having the kinds of conversations that rarely leave the privacy of those 4 walls. I've seen the questions in your eyes long before you spoke them. I've heard the hesitation in your voice when you finally did. And I've felt the weight you carry when you think no one else could possibly understand what you're going through. Here's the truth. After 60, the rules change. Your body shifts. The same playbook that worked in your 40s and 50s starts to fail you. You notice the difference in your mornings. The energy isn't gone, but it's quieter now. Workouts leave you a little more sore. The fire in the bedroom still burns, but it takes more tending. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you start to wonder, is this it? Is this how the story ends? I'm here to tell you no, that story is still yours to write. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a topic most men are too shy to say out loud: masturbation. Not as a punchline, not as a whispered confession, but as a real, physiological, and deeply personal part of your sexual health. We're going to separate the science from the myths, the mistakes from the smart habits, and the fear from the facts. Because here's something I know for certain. What you do with your body, your mind, and your energy in this decade of your life will echo through the decades that follow. Over the years, I've met men who carried silent guilt for something that, when done right, could have been part of their health routine. I've also seen men unknowingly sabotage their vitality through habits they thought were harmless. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. It's about giving you the information to make choices that serve your strength, your confidence, and your connection with yourself and with your partner. Now, I don't want you just sitting back and listening passively. This channel, this community, is built on conversation. So as you hear something today that sparks a thought, maybe even stirs a memory, drop it in the comments. You can be as direct or as discreet as you want. Write 1 if you've ever wondered about the long-term effects. Write 0 if you've never given it a second thought until now. Either way, I read them all, because this isn't just my show, it's our space. In the minutes ahead, we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the misunderstood. We'll break down the physical science, from testosterone to blood flow to nervous system recovery. We'll talk about the mental and emotional side, confidence, intimacy, and how to keep the man you see in the mirror feeling proud. And we'll do it without fear, without judgment, and without the outdated advice that's been holding men back for generations. So if you've been told this is just how aging works, if you've been warned to give up certain pleasures without anyone explaining why, if you've ever felt alone in this conversation, stick with me. By the end of this, you'll not only know the truth about masturbation after 60, you'll know how to harness every bit of your remaining decades to live sharper, stronger, and more alive than you thought possible. Gentlemen, let's begin. Why sexual health matters more after 60. Gentlemen, let's get real for a moment. After 60, you don't just measure life in birthdays. You measure it in mornings you still wake up feeling like yourself, in the clarity of your mind, in the strength of your handshake, in the warmth of your connection with the person beside you, or the pride of still feeling like a man when you're on your own. Here's the thing most men never hear. Sexual health at this stage isn't a luxury. It's a foundation. Your energy, your mood, your blood flow, even your memory, they're all linked to the same system that fuels intimacy. Ignore it, and you're not just losing performance in the bedroom, you're losing quality of life in every room. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Doc, I'm past my prime, isn't it normal to slow down? Sure, some changes are natural. Testosterone dips about 1% each year after 40. Blood vessels get a little less elastic. Recovery takes longer. But here's what's not natural: accepting decline as your fate. See, the men who keep their vitality aren't lucky. They are deliberate. They protect their blood flow the way they protect their savings. They keep their testosterone from sinking by moving their bodies daily, eating foods that support hormone health. And yes, paying attention to their sexual habits, including masturbation. And that's where we start breaking myths. Because for decades, you've been told it's either a harmless habit you can do as much as you want, or it's the thing slowly destroying your strength. The truth, it's neither extreme. Like exercise, like food, it's about how, when, and why you do it. I want you to think back, not just to last week, but to 20 years ago. How did you feel after intimacy? How did you recover? Now compare it to today. If you notice your energy dipping for days after, your erections losing fullness, or your motivation fading, that's your body's way of saying, we need to adjust the plan. So before we get into the science, let me ask you something. Type yes in the comments if you've ever wondered whether your current habits are helping or hurting your long-term health. Type no if you've never really thought about it before, but you're here to learn. Because in the next part, we're going to cut through the noise, look at the actual research, and I'll show you exactly how to find your personal balance so you're not guessing, you're building. Gentlemen, this is where things start to get interesting. Masturbation, facts and myths. Gentlemen, let's take this head on. Masturbation. For some men, just hearing the word makes their voice drop to a whisper. For others, it's the thing they joke about with friends but never really talk about seriously. But here, in this space, we don't do whispers and we don't do cheap laughs. We deal in truth. So let's start with the biggest myth I hear almost every week in my clinic. It's completely harmless, do it as much as you want. Wrong. That's like saying exercise is always good no matter how much you do. Too little and you lose muscle and mobility. Too much and you break yourself down, never giving your body time to recover. Masturbation works the same way. When done in moderation, it can actually help, improving mood through dopamine release, reducing stress via oxytocin, even helping with sleep by lowering cortisol levels. But push it too far too often and you're asking for trouble, from desensitization of nerve pathways to lower motivation, chronic fatigue, and in some cases, erection quality that just isn't what it used to be. Now, the other myth. It's always bad, it will ruin your manhood. Also wrong. I've worked with hundreds of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who still enjoyed healthy, moderate self-pleasure without any negative impact on their testosterone, blood flow, or connection with a partner. The problem isn't the act itself. It's how it's done, how often, and what role it plays in your life. If it's replacing real intimacy, numbing your desire for a partner, or becoming a coping mechanism for stress you're not dealing with, then yes, it becomes a problem. Here's the science in plain language. Testosterone. Short-term changes after ejaculation are minimal, but chronic overuse can contribute to lower baseline motivation and hormonal drive. Blood flow. Regular arousal increases circulation to pelvic muscles, but too frequent stimulation without recovery can dull the vascular response. Brain chemistry. Healthy masturbation triggers natural reward chemicals, but overstimulation, especially with constant novelty from certain types of content, can desensitize the brain's pleasure pathways, making normal experiences less satisfying. Gentlemen, the goal here is not guilt, it's control. I want you to see masturbation not as something to be ashamed of and not as something to ignore, but as a tool. And like any tool, it can build or it can break. You control which one it does. So let's keep this conversation real. Drop fact in the comments if you learned something today you didn't know before. Drop myth if you've heard one of these lies your whole life and now you're ready to see it differently. I read them all, and you'd be surprised how many men in this community have the exact same questions you do. Because in the next section, we're going to talk about the common mistakes men make. The habits that quietly drain your strength, your focus, and your intimacy without you even realizing it. And more importantly, how to fix them starting tonight. Common mistakes. Gentlemen, now that we've cleared up the myths, let's get into the stuff that actually trips men up, the mistakes I see over and over again. And if you hear one that hits a little too close to home, don't feel called out, feel called forward. Mistake #1 overdoing it like you're still 25. Your recovery isn't the same as it was decades ago. When you were younger, you could push your body in the gym, in the bedroom, anywhere, and bounce back the next day. But now, The same intensity without enough rest can leave your nervous system fried, your energy low, and your libido dragging. Think of it like weight training. You don't hammer the same muscle group every day. Your sexual system needs recovery too. Mistake #2 treating it as a default, not a choice. A lot of men in their 60s and 70s tell me, "Doc, I don't even think about it. It just happens when I'm bored or can't sleep." And that's the problem. It becomes background noise in your life instead of a conscious, intentional act. When it's automatic, it's no longer about pleasure, connection, or release. It's about filling time. That's when it starts eroding your drive for real intimacy. Mistake #3 using the wrong kind of stimulation. Let's be honest, for many men, especially in the internet age, the fuel isn't coming from memory or imagination anymore. It's coming from high intensity, constantly changing content that your brain was never meant to handle at that speed. Over time, your brain adapts to that artificial level of stimulation, and suddenly a real partner doesn't light up your system the same way. That's not a you problem, that's a brain chemistry problem you've trained into existence. Mistake #4 ignoring the aftermath. This is the silent one. You finish, you move on, you don't think about how you feel afterwards. But that post-activity window is where the truth hides. Do you feel relaxed or do you feel empty? Energized or drained? Motivated or detached? If you're feeling that slow leak of drive and focus for hours, even days after you're overdoing it for your current physiology. Mistake #5 letting guilt run the show. Some men punish themselves mentally every time they do it. Others avoid it completely out of fear, even when their body's telling them it could help. Both extremes keep you from finding that healthy balance point. Guilt locks you into shame. Fear locks you out of the benefits. Gentlemen, the point of listing these isn't to hand out blame, it's to give you a map. When you can see where the road curves, you can stop driving into the ditch. Now, I want you to drop into the comments, which one of these mistakes do you think you might be making most often? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. No long story, no over-explaining, just the number. You'll be amazed at how many other men here are right in the same spot you are. Because in the next part, we're talking about how to turn this around. The adjustments you can make right now to protect your testosterone, improve your circulation, and keep your energy up for years to come. Side effects to watch for. Gentlemen, here's the thing, habits rarely hit you like a hammer. They work more like water on stone, slow, steady, and almost invisible, until one day you wake up and realize the shape of your health has changed. Masturbation, done right, can be harmless, even beneficial. But when it's off balance, the side effects creep in quietly. Let's talk about the ones you should keep on your radar. 1. The energy dip that doesn't bounce back. A healthy release should leave you relaxed, not wrecked. If you notice you're dragging the rest of the day, or worse, into the next day, that's a red flag. Your nervous system is telling you it's not getting enough recovery time between sessions. This isn't just about sexual energy. It bleeds into your workouts, your mood, even your willingness to tackle the day's challenges. 2. Erection quality slipping. This one's subtle. Maybe you're still getting erections, but they're not as full, not as firm, or they fade quicker. That's not just getting older, that's your vascular system under strain. Too frequent activity without proper blood flow training, yes, that's a thing, can reduce responsiveness over time. 3. The numbness you don't notice at first. Over time, overstimulation, especially from constant novelty, can dull the nerve sensitivity in the pelvic region. It's like turning down the volume on your own pleasure receptors. You don't notice until one day you realize it takes more effort, more time, and more intensity just to get the same response. 4. Motivation flatlining. This one surprises a lot of men. Overuse can lower your drive, not just for intimacy, but for life in general. It's a brain chemistry shift. Dopamine spikes too often, your brain adjusts, and suddenly everyday rewards, a good workout, a meal with friends, a project you care about, just don't light you up like they used to. 5. Emotional disconnection. For some men, over-reliance on self-pleasure can start replacing connection with a partner. The emotional warmth, the trust, the shared laughter before and after, it fades. You still get the release, but you lose the bond. And for a man in his 60s or 70, that bond is as vital as blood pressure and bone density. Gentlemen, these side effects aren't here to scare you, they're here to give you checkpoints. If you're seeing 2 or more of these in your life right now, it's time to adjust. The good news? In most cases, with the right changes, your body and brain can bounce back further than you think. Now, I want you to be honest. Drop the number of the side effect you've noticed most in yourself down in the comments. Not for me, but for the guy watching this who thinks he's the only one going through it. Trust me, he's not. Because in the next part, we'll dive into the essential vitamins and nutrients that can help restore your energy, protect your testosterone, and support healthy blood flow. So you're not just stopping bad habits, you're actively building yourself back up. Essential vitamins for energy and vitality. Gentlemen, you can't fix a leaky roof with a coat of paint, and you can't fix declining energy or performance without giving your body the raw materials it needs to rebuild. After 60, your body isn't as efficient at absorbing and using nutrients as it was in your 30s. Even if you eat healthy, the gap between what you think you're getting and what your body actually uses can be the difference between waking up sharp or waking up sluggish. Let's get specific. These aren't trendy supplements from some late-night infomercial. These are essentials backed by decades of research that I've seen transform men's lives when used correctly. 1. Vitamin D, the hormone in disguise. Call it a vitamin if you want, but vitamin D acts more like a hormone, one that your testosterone, immune system, and mood all depend on. Low D levels can tank your energy, weaken your bones, and make it harder to maintain lean muscle. For most men over 60, getting enough from sunlight alone is nearly impossible, especially if you spend your mornings indoors. 2. Vitamin B12, the spark plug for your energy. Think of B12 as the ignition key for your body's energy production. Without it, you're running on a half-dead battery, tired, foggy, and maybe even dealing with tingling in your hands and feet. Age reduces your stomach's ability to absorb B12 from food, so supplementation isn't a luxury, it's insurance. 3. Zinc, the testosterone defender. Zinc is one of the unsung heroes of male health. Without enough of it, your testosterone production suffers, your immune system weakens, and your recovery slows down. It also plays a key role in sperm health and prostate function, 2 areas you want to keep strong. 4. Magnesium, the master relaxer. Magnesium is like the conductor of your body's orchestra. It helps regulate muscle function, nerve signals, and even your heart rhythm. It's also critical for quality sleep, and we all know that without good sleep, testosterone and recovery take a nosedive. 5. Omega-3 fatty acids, the blood flow booster. From cold water fish or high-quality supplements, omega-3s reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and support heart and brain health. Better blood flow means better performance in the gym, at the dinner table, and yes, in the bedroom. 6. Vitamin K2, the silent protector. Often overlooked, K2 works with vitamin D to direct calcium to your bones, not your arteries. This keeps your blood vessels flexible and your circulation strong, 2 things you can't afford to neglect after 60. Now here's the key, it's not just about popping pills. It's about making sure your diet supports these nutrients naturally, then supplementing where you fall short. Salmon, eggs, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, these should be on your plate as often as possible. Gentlemen, imagine this. 3 months from now, you've got more morning energy, better focus, and a stronger drive. That's not luck, that's chemistry, and it's within your control. So here's my challenge. Comment VITAL if you're ready to start rebuilding your energy from the inside out. And if you're already taking some of these, share which ones and how they've helped, because another man in this community might need exactly that starting point. In the next part, we'll move from nutrients to natural testosterone support, simple, proven strategies that don't just keep your levels from falling, but actually help you reclaim the vitality you thought was gone for good. Natural testosterone support. Gentlemen, here's the truth no one told you in your 40s. Once testosterone starts to slide, you can't wish it back. You can't just rely on a few multivitamins and hope for the best. But you can turn the tide naturally if you treat your body like the performance machine it still is. Think of testosterone as the fuel in your engine. Without it, everything slows: muscle growth, fat burning, recovery, even your desire to take on the day. With it, you're sharper, stronger, and more alive. And yes, that shows up everywhere: in the mirror, in the bedroom, in your mood. Here's where we start. 1. Strength training, the hormone signal. Your body is built to respond to challenge. Lifting weights, even light to moderate loads, sends a direct signal to your endocrine system. We need more testosterone. Focus on big movements: squats, presses, rows. You don't need a gym filled with chrome. A pair of dumbbells and your own body weight can work wonders. Aim for 2-3 sessions a week, giving your muscles time to recover between. 2. Daily movement, the blood flow habit. This isn't just about workouts. Walk after meals, take the stairs, do yard work. Every time you move, you're improving circulation, which means more oxygen. 5. Cut the flow killers. Smoking, excess alcohol, and high-sugar diets inflame and damage your arteries. That's like rust in your pipes, and once enough builds up, performance everywhere suffers. You don't need to live like a monk, but you do need to limit the things that choke off your circulation. Gentlemen, better blood flow is one of the fastest ways to feel younger. I've had men tell me they felt the difference in a week. Warmer hands and feet, better workouts, stronger morning erections. This isn't placebo, it's your body finally getting the circulation it's been starving for. So let's make this interactive. Comment flow if you're ready to focus on circulation starting today. And if you've got your own trick for boosting blood flow, a food, a workout, a daily habit, share it. You might be the reason another man in this community turns things around. In the next part, we're going to talk about senior wisdom, the mindset shift that separates men who just age from men who upgrade in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Because skill without the right mindset, that's only half the battle. Senior wisdom and healthy habits. Gentlemen, the older I get and the more men I work with, the more I realize something powerful. Health after 60 isn't just about what you do. It's about what you know, what you believe, and what you choose to carry forward. There's a reason I call this senior wisdom. Because by this stage of life, you've fought your battles, earned your scars, and learned that the little things, the unglamorous, consistent habits, are the ones that keep you standing tall. Here's what I've seen in the men who don't just live long, but live well. 1. They value quality over quantity. When it comes to intimacy, exercise, even meals, they choose better, not more. A single, meaningful connection with a partner beats a dozen hollow moments. A focused, intense 30-minute workout beats an hour of half-effort. 2. They protect their morning like treasure. The first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest. The sharpest men I know don't waste it scrolling through bad news or drowning in caffeine without food. They move, they eat with intention, they set their mind before the world starts pulling on them. 3. They stay curious. Whether it's learning a new skill, trying a new recipe, or exploring a new walking route, curiosity keeps the brain young. And a young brain fuels a young body. 4. They keep a tight circle. After 60, your time is too valuable for toxic people or pointless drama. The men who thrive keep their circle small, supportive, and energizing. They know that stress isn't just an emotion, it's a biological drain that steals years off your life. 5. They listen to their body, not just their ego. These men don't push through warning signs just to prove they've still got it. They adapt. They train smart. They rest when needed. They see the doctor when something feels off, because they know that catching a problem early is strength, not weakness. Gentlemen, senior wisdom isn't about slowing down. It's about stripping away the noise and focusing on what truly matters: the habits, relationships, and mindset that let you live every year with purpose and power. So I'll ask you, if you had to pick one habit to master for the rest of this year, what would it be? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might inspire another man to finally take action. Because in the final part, we're going to tie all of this together, from the myths and mistakes to the nutrients to the mindset. into one clear, simple takeaway you can carry with you starting tonight. Takeaway and call to action. Gentlemen, if you've stayed with me through this conversation, you already know something most men your age will never hear. You are not at the mercy of the calendar. We've talked about the myths and the truths around masturbation. We've gone through the common mistakes, the subtle side effects, the nutrients your body craves, the ways to boost testosterone, the power of blood flow, and the wisdom that only comes with years. Every single piece of this puzzle points to one truth: your health, your vitality, your masculinity are choices you make daily. This isn't about chasing the man you were at 30. It's about becoming the man you were always meant to be at 60, 70, and beyond, sharper in mind, stronger in body, richer in connection. That's not a fantasy. That's biology, discipline, and belief working together. But here's the thing: nothing changes if you just nod along and go back to the same old routine. Change starts with action, one choice today. Maybe it's swapping your breakfast for something that fuels you instead of slows you down. Maybe it's adding a short walk after dinner. Maybe it's setting a limit on habits that drain your energy. Or maybe it's picking up the phone and reconnecting with someone who matters. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you're ready to take your health seriously, hit that like button, not for me, but as your first public commitment. Comment with the one change you're committing to this week. Just one. And if you know another man who needs to hear this, a friend, a brother, a father, share this with him. You might just give him back years of his life. Gentlemen, I read every comment. This channel isn't me talking at you, it's us talking with each other. I want to hear your wins, your struggles, your questions, because the man who thinks he's alone in this fight, he's already losing, and you're not alone. Not here. Remember, you are not broken. You are not past your prime. You are a man with years of strength, love, and life still ahead. The best chapters are still unwritten, and they start with the choice you make today. I'm Dr. Sterling Thorne, and this is Max Life Man. Until next time, stay strong, stay sharp, and live like the man you were born to be.